This video is a stub. Stop watching it and use the links below. Your ISP is going to have some idea of your online activity no matter what you do, and your computer records things against your will because it's designed to do it, because it makes it faster to load pages and that sort of thing and keep preferences. But this means that your machine will tattle on you to your neighbor or relatives that can tunnel in, or any virus or malware routine. Keywords to look up: VPN TOR SSH HTTPS, RAM drive, virtual machine, proxy, Windows versus Linux. Okay, here we go. A virtual private network will usually cost you money if it's decent, which is a way of tracking you. The Onion router is free, and it was created by our spooks to become evasive, so yeah, and it can be tested and has been tested to be found reasonably secure or more secure. Secure shell cryptography is a network protocol over unsecured networks to make them secure, SSH. Using hypertext transfer protocol secured, HTTPS, simply on your browser may mean just putting an S at the end of HTTP and it turns on. You can also load up a program called HTTPS Everywhere, which tells your browser to always try to use secure socket layer through hypertext protocol, as in the web encrypted. It doesn't encrypt everything, but it does make it a little bit harder. Where you go on the net, the name of websites and that sort of thing will still be recorded somewhere, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to connect them in many cases. Not all, but many cases. Next, using a proxy. Proxies used to be the thing because it made somewhere outside of your ISP, like some website you're visiting, not really be able to find you because they run into the proxy, and the proxy just says, I'm not going to tell you where the connection came from. That's the difference between the normal connections on the internet and a proxy. If the proxy refuses to give the information, it acts as your proxy. It looks like it's the one browsing. Unless you're willing to pay for one, or you're willing to swap them out every damn day, they're really not all that useful in your ISP and the US government, or whoever might be monitoring. Department of Homeland Security. Frickin' US Patriot Act. Any spook will still see it, but it'll keep outside spooks from looking in, which is the reason they're not really blocked. Next, we get to something else. An obfuscated bridge. This is literally just a similar thing to a proxy. You connect securely through your internet provider to some static location that then acts as a proxy. It's a similar thing, but this uses Tor in the first place, so everything's really hard to find. And that's all I've got on it as far as that. You can use RAM-only, non-caching pieces of software. I use nothing but portable apps for this because it just keeps my computer from filling up with gunk. So one of the biggest reasons I got into this is computers fill up with garbage that the computer, Microsoft Windows, very jealously guards so you can't erase it and free up some space. Why? Because it's market research. So since I was against that, I ended up making my machine much less likely to collect crap. Keep tabs on how much space is being chewed up on your computer. Don't let it add more than you need. Store all your information on another hard drive outside that you only plug in when you're saving, and then erase stuff. But you can use a web browser that does everything in RAM only. It will crash more often, but when it does, it leaves almost nothing behind. It does leave some things behind. And you can use that kind of thing with all of the above. See also the Tor browser, TORR, the Onion router, because it does that by default. It might store something on the hard drive, but then it uses an encrypted cache, which is kind of funny that way. Switch to a Linux virtual computer, or the other way around, use Linux as your operating system and use a Windows system that's virtualized and lies about what it is. I have a Linux system. I have a Windows system that says it's a Macintosh while running inside of a virtual machine under Linux. If anybody gets in, they're just going to be WTFing all day. And then you just nuke it in RAM. It never runs anything on the hard drive. There's nothing on the hard drive unless you explicitly save it, and you save it over here to some file storage area, and it's encrypted on the fly as well. You can also use hardware-level encryption on your machine, but when it comes down to it, unless you're going to learn to hack, truly, none of this is worth it. And I know how to do most of, if not all of this, and I don't do it because I do the first step in being secure on the net. I don't do anything that's worth looking at. And I mean that in a very serious sense. If I'm going to do anything that's worth looking at, I reboot the computer to a thumb drive running Linux. It runs a virtual Windows XP or Windows 95 machine if I'm feeling kinky, and it completely confuses the hell out of anything that might be looking at it because they just don't know what they're looking at. And it all runs on a thumb drive. And once the thumb drive starts acting up, I take a blowtorch to it. And that's for me just trying to download software from Microsoft Corporation because I want to piss them off. But unless I'm doing something like that, I literally just do the first step. Don't do anything you can be arrested for or be interesting for that can be tracked to you and have two identities. One of them is the promiscuous you that goes around and looks at cat videos like I was trying to do today. And the other one is the one that downloads ISOs for every operating system and fuses them together and runs them from a thumb drive, and nobody knows about it. That's it. That's all I got to offer. The links below are your links through. Warning, Wikipedia pages are starting points. Look in the history and talk pages for the real links. Ignore the Wikipedia article, except for a basic definition, and go from there. Electronic Frontier Foundation, first starting point. Second one, torproject.org. Third starting point. Learn to build your own machines. Do not use machines that have branding. Unbranded laptop is a meme on the net and it's a scary story. But you want to have that. Hide what kind of machine you're using. Tell it to lie to the internet. Most importantly, build your own machine from scratch. If the computer starts up with a logo saying any brand name, it is insecure. And even if it doesn't show a brand name, it's insecure. I rewrote the BIOS for my computer so it has literally nothing in it I don't know about. Because I can. If you can't, find someone else who did, who's equally interested in protecting themselves. And watch a lot of the videos with John McAfee. And then finally, there is one thing you can try if you want to. Security-focused operating systems based on Linux, such as literally Secure Linux. It isn't called Secure Linux anymore. There's 100 distros that are like this. And you can make any Linux machine act like any Windows or Macintosh you want, and you don't have to load up a virtual machine. I still recommend it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that, and I hope this wasn't too confusing because it confused me.